Hi there folks, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm at Bannockburn House, which is on the outskirts of the village of Bannockburn, and it's not that far from the Bannockburn Heritage Centre. Bit of a nightmare to try and find this place, so my sat-nav wasn't recognising the postcode. I have no idea where this place was. It took me about half an hour extra just to find it. I'm supposed to be meeting the Scottish Tourism Collective. I think they might probably be inside. I'm going to try and find them. We're supposed to be getting a tour around the building. So I'm going to head on in, try and find them and see what's happening. So if you're enjoying my videos, if you're enjoying my channel, if you can click on that subscribe button, click on that notification bell, leave some likes, leave some comments, it's always really appreciated. If you'd like to support the channel further, I will post a link to the channelscoffee.com page in the description bar below, and then a pinned comment in the comment section. I'm going to get in out this rain.
That was sacked by Cromwell. We're not sure if he was sacked either on the march up or the march back down, but we know that Drummond's Hall, that was previously situated here, was raised in the Cromwellian area. So it started to Sir Scott Rollo that started to build Bannockburn House and ran out of money, and then it was Sir Hugh Patterson who was writer to the Signet, which is essentially like a lawyer to the crown. I'll get me upstairs and you can...
This used to be the library. Yeah, they are in the process of completely restoring this building. So they're going to be raising a lot of money and doing a hell of a lot of work.
It was the blue room, but we're now called the principal state room to give it more a grandeur title. One of the interesting, of course, is this magnificent ornate decorative plaster ceiling work. Much of the same style as in the Lay Hall, but what is very unique and special about this plaster work is that we have organisations like the Historic Environment Scotland. Now, they do postgraduate courses for students of traditional skills and postgraduates. They had asked to come here as a live demo model to talk about some of their students about external renders, plaster work, and Rob type of paint. This was painted in the late 60s when Miss Mitchell was, we believe, forcibly been asked to sell the house and the property. Our brothers had died in the Great War. At the time, a woman taking ownership in the family business wasn't necessarily smiled or supported in such ways. So we believe the men of the organisation had asked her to move to a smaller house into town. Still a very large house. She was only able to keep one butler or favourite.
This is the Victorian section of the building. There is.
So this is the kind of first time that they discovered this thick embroidered paper, so much like when they first discovered reverb and like the Buddy Holly era, they were just cranking up to 11. This was just what they done with that. They were like, wow, we can embroider paper, let's go all in.
So this building is actually owned by a community group. It's a kind of community buyout. So it's not owned by Historic Scotland or National Trust for Scotland. So they are trying to raise a lot of money and get a lot of help in to actually restore this building, because with it having connections to Bonnie Prince Charlie and the Jacobite rebellion, especially with the 45, it is a very historically important building. And yeah, and so that in itself, it needs to be preserved, needs to be looked after. So they are just at the moment trying to get the word out and try to get as much support as they can to get this building back to what it should be.
1746. He stayed in many stately homes on his way down for Glenfinnan to Derby and back up again for escape to Skye and back to Rome. But the reason he stayed here for so long is, we believe it, some say it was man flu, other more sympathetic cause call it influenza. For whatever it was, he was very ill during the time here. Of course, this is right in the midst of winter. Healthcare and all the other kind of things are very much more still in the realms of superstition and witchcraft rather than modern medicine as we know it. But yeah, so he was down in the dumps here for a good while. But one of this bed is not the bed that was originally here in 1740. Fine, it was a later addition, still a beautiful hand-carved mahogany bed. But yeah, so this is that room where we think they probably would have had their first nuptials within. The later wood panelling is a later fires along in different farm estates. One of our volunteers that are in the history group that go doing all the archival stuff found a newspaper article from the date that this house was burned, and it's from there that we were able to get certain sort of bits on the other farmhouses that were burnt. Interestingly enough, at some point, I think it was a couple of years ago, we got a random email message, almost like it's someone trying to clear the consciousness kind of thing. I apparently know who was involved in the fire and what had happened. I've got some hidden background story, so I think maybe they've seen some of our online profile talking about this and trying to clear the charcoal. If you know the process of making charcoal, you need to heat wood with lots of heat and little oxygen, which meant that the fire within here burnt with little oxygen, meaning that it wasn't getting fed to these windows. It would have had the shutters up sort of stopping that in. And we've seen from other examples with the laughing plasters come off how thick.
Right, this here is the famous safe. It's actually hidden behind the normal kind of panel door. And they have tried to have it opened, but apparently these locks here were tamper-proof or something, so they haven't actually been able to get in yet. No one's been able to pick the lock. And so no one knows what's inside here. Apparently some psychics and mediums have went and put their hand out on the door. Apparently said that there's something inside this safe that will save this building, which could be interesting. I would love to actually see what's inside. That'd be amazing.
Of the artifact kind of style of the mosaics, they don't really fit in, and there's a few other example style. There's a couple of elements of that they just don't necessarily fit in the same level of craftsmanship, so we find that one of the owners might have found themselves with a wife or
just coming round to explore the gardens.
Oh, you've got a drone up here. Yeah. I was going to bring it today, but then I thought it was a little bit huge.
Yeah, you can really see the sort of difference between that extension and there, just the different things about the styles, flat roof, you see the front, the originals.
And they're actually planning to do a lot of events here as well. It's like kind of weddings, that sort of thing. I think they've been doing a lot of kind of craft fairs as well. That was obviously before COVID hit. And I think they've also had like film crews in, and they've had some paranormal like TV shows being filmed here as well. So even though it is a building that is still needing a lot of work and a lot of care and attention at the moment, it is somewhere that is definitely getting a lot of kind of filming attention. And yeah, so as the garden itself, I will need to explore it more, but the grounds look amazing.
Take you to that side, I'll show you the new orchard that we've planted up.
Well, that's me back from a visit to Bannockburn House with the Scottish Tourism Collective. I think that's the right name. And it's definitely a place that's worth a visit. And yeah, I had heard of Bannockburn House before. I know I'd seen videos of the house of people who were like urban explorers who managed to get in the building like before it had been bought over by the local community and before it was like open to the public. So it's a really interesting place, and for a building that has been overlooked, it is somewhere that really does have a lot of history. It played its part in the Jacobite rebellion of 1745. Bonnie Prince Charlie stayed there. And if I remember correctly, the guy who was giving us a tour said that Bonnie Prince Charlie actually met his wife there. And yeah, so it's definitely somewhere that is worthwhile kind of visiting. It's really, again, really interesting history. And I am definitely kind of willing to support the restoration efforts of the house. So I am going to try and see if I can put some money aside so I can donate it to help with the restoration. Yeah, so it's just a stunning building as well. And if you are trying to get there, it probably is easier by car. And I would say that if you are trying to get there by car, I would go up to the roundabout. I'd come off the motorway at the junction for the Bannockburn Heritage Centre, come up to the roundabout. Don't go to the junction for the Bannockburn Heritage Centre. I'm sure it's the next one. So it's the one for the Wallace Monument and the 4th tourist route. They take that exit, and it's the first road on the right once you kind of come off from the roundabout. So I will definitely post a link to the Bannockburn Heritage Site or the Bannockburn House in the description bar below. So if you're interested in finding out more about them, definitely have a look at their website. So I'm going to sign off just now. Hopefully you will have enjoyed this video. Hopefully you'll have enjoyed seeing my little visit and tour around the house. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.